All right, welcome everyone to Dynamics Community AMA. My name is Fawad Khan. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We are really thrilled to have you at this AMA. We are bringing this series of AMAs to you where we bring in key leaders and product owners from the product teams within Dynamics 365 world. They come here, they talk about their strategy, their vision, and feature functionality, and all the great things that are coming into our products. And just real quick, I want to talk a little bit about the format of the AMA. This is being a recorded event, and your questions are going to be shown in the recording. So if you are not consenting to that, I recommend that you please drop off. And at the end of this AMA, we are also going to have a survey, and we appreciate you giving us feedback so we can continue to improve these AMA series that we're bringing to you. And now for the exciting part, it is my pleasure to introduce Georg Glantschnig. He is the General Manager of Dynamics 365 Finance, Globalization, Human Resources, and Project Operations. He held a lot of key leadership positions at SAP, and now he is here at Microsoft leading the Dynamics 365 products that I talked about. He is going to be talking about his vision, and then you'll have an opportunity to ask him questions and any queries that you have. And he also has his support team that is going to be helping him with this Q&A session that we're having. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Georg to lead us into this discussion.
Thank you, Fahad, and also good morning and good afternoon and good evening from my side. And I want to start with a big thank you. As a thank you for the passion and the trust to make this community a place of millions of users who want to be there, find the answers, they learn and engage and can connect there. So I hope the next hour will hopefully make us both smarter. Microsoft hopefully understands better, what your questions are, what kind of answers you're seeking for, so we can maybe improve things there, and then hopefully we can also give you some guidance or some answers on our thinking. So my name is Georg Glantschnig. I spent about 25 years in the ERP, CRM, platform technology space. Also dealt a lot with machine learning enabling processes, specifically in the context of ERP. Spent most of my time in Germany and California, also with my former employer, as Fawad mentioned, with SAP, and then I moved to Seattle, joined Microsoft, and leading basically most of the ERP portfolios except the supply chain, also it's finance, project operations, human resources, and the globalization portfolio. So I wanted to maybe just share a couple of thoughts from my side before we go in the exciting part of this hour, the questions you have. So if you look a little bit back in the last 6-12 months, I think the pandemic itself exposed weaknesses, I think, in every organizational back office system. So I think there's, this inability to easily access data, enable self-service capabilities, or intelligently, automate processes. And I think this whole thing has created a demand for a data-first, SaaS ERP portfolio. And I think the pandemic itself has just accelerated what we at Microsoft, I think, saw already as, I call it the third big shift in software paradigm. When you look a little bit over the last 20, 30 years, what happened in ERP. So let's just spend a couple of minutes on what I call the big picture before we drill into, your questions. As I think there was, in the late 90s, if you look at enterprise resource planning, it was all about, understanding processes, mapping them basically into your software. So it was basically built on the paradigm of being processes, so basically the center of your software. So therefore it was a paradigm called process-centric. So all the tools, all the technology basically was built around process-centric software development. If you then go 10, 15 years further into the future, more and more people basically started to utilize ERP systems, they boost productivity, and there was then a shift of, because process-centric didn't mean it's easy to use, so from process-centric to more like user-centric. So there was a new paradigm. How do you create user-centric applications? And more attention was put on designing software, with what we call end users in mind. Of course, this was also the age of internet becoming more prominent, mobile access, also working from different locations. So we had a shift from process-centric to user-centric, but I think now again we are in a new area of a paradigm shift, and where we think it's not about processes, it's not about the user, it's not about data-centric. So the data basically triggers the actions, and I think Microsoft, and specifically the Microsoft Cloud, is uniquely positioned to basically deliver the value in this new area of data first. And I think the value is for for customers, for partners, the community, of course, integrating the capabilities of Azure, so you can run your service anywhere. You can leverage all the machine learning, AI, augmented reality, cutting edge research, of course, then the broad application portfolio from sales, service, marketing to all the ERP functions, and of course, then the Power Platform for extensibility, Power BI, and all the productivity and collaboration tools. So I think it's a really unique end-to-end set of capabilities, to deliver on this data-first notion. So that's just to simplify basically what we are trying to achieve. As our portfolio basically is aspired to lead in what we call the data-first SaaS ERP portfolio. And there is product-centric and service-centric. Also ERP software often supports either products or things or services and experience. And I think our portfolio basically we can support both. And as I said, our portfolio is HR and project operations, finance and globalization. So I'm using here now our internal naming, again, not to confuse you, but it's maybe just easier for you to remember what we're talking about in our AMA session. So it's basically about people, projects, money, and you want to do this in a global manner. So PPMG, and as Fahad said, I brought 4 people from my leadership team, also the leaders for the product, and I wanted to introduce them briefly, and they will give you a very short, high-level elevator pitch of the portfolio, and I think then we can go into the questions. So first one, people, which is our Dynamics human resource portfolio. Brendan is the CPO, and I will hand over to Brendan to give a short pitch on what's the latest and greatest in HR.
Thanks, Georg. Dynamics 365 Human Resources helps organizations balance operational excellence, organizational agility, and the employee experience to create workplaces where people in the business thrive. Over the past year, we've delivered new capabilities in leave and absence as well as benefits management. We're now turning our focus more to the employee experience. Earlier this week, we launched our Human Resources app for Microsoft Teams, allowing employees and managers to manage their time away in the flow of work directly in Teams. We will continue to build on these employee experiences by bringing more capabilities to Teams, as well as integrate key HR data with the Microsoft Cloud. And that I'll hand it to Gherkin for project operations.
Thank you, Brendan. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our AMA. Project Operations is a new offering that we have released on October 1st, 2020. It's a business application that targets service organizations that have project-centric service offerings. And Project Operations is the evolution of our project service automation offering, combining capabilities from Microsoft Project and Project Management and accounting and expense capabilities in finance and operations. The application connects the entire organization and empowers sales, project management, resourcing, partner management, delivery, and accounting teams with the visibility they need to win more contracts, accelerate project delivery, maximize profitability, get key insights around the profit and loss statements of your project business, your resource utilization, how your practice mix is looking. Project Operations integrates with our customers' current systems such as sales, finance, and HR, so there's no need to rip and replace any of your existing systems to implement Project Operations. So the product has rich end-to-end capabilities all the way from sales to project accounting, and I see that there are already some questions coming for Project Operations, so we can address those in our AMA. I think next up is April.
Great, well, welcome. Thanks for being here today. Finance continues to be core to all businesses, and as an organization, we're continuing to focus on making sure your users have more time to spend on strategic activities. And this really, for us, comes down to data and automation, especially being able to bring value-added insights through intelligence. Last year, we delivered a native finance process automation framework and automated all the core processes around cash flow forecasting, all the way from cash coming in and collecting on it to how we automate vendor invoices and payments. This is something we will continue to do while adding intelligence, and that will continue to be a key investment and strategy for us going forward. We are also looking at how organizations' business models are changing and making sure that our software and the capabilities within it help you quickly adapt to that. And that all aligns of Dynamics 365 mission of being the most intelligent, automated, and trusted financial solution in the market. And supporting that, I will hand it over to Sergey to talk about globalization.
Thank you very much, April, and hello, everyone. So globalization, it's really in globalization we're covering, my team covering regulatory requirements, meeting regulatory obligation, regulatory requirements for Dynamics 365 finance, project operations, commerce, and supply chain management. Our team is really focusing on two main components of globalization. First one, we are providing out-of-the-box country region coverage. And right now we support out of the box 42 countries, regions, and we provide translation into 47 languages. And obviously for all these supported countries, we maintain regulatory compliance, we monitor the regulatory changes and make regulatory updates in time to government deadlines. So what is extending our global coverage? We have ISV localization solution at partner app source. If you go to partner to our app source, you can see more than 50 localization ISV solutions there. Our strategy here in this area, we are extending our global coverage. We shipped 5 new countries in October release last year. We are shipping one more out-of-the-box localization for Egypt in this spring, and we are looking at more extension even in this area. The second very important part of our strategy is globalization tools and services. We made quite a big investment into Dynamics 365, making our globalization like no-code, low-code type of experience, right? We call it configurable globalization. We have tools like electronic reporting, configurable business documents, so which allows not only us, but also our partners and customers to really easily extend our localizations in areas like tax, electronic reporting, electronic invoicing, and banking, and business document, and so on. We see quite a big uptake of this functionality by our partners and customers. What we are doing is in this area, we are actually extending this, we are improving this localization, but also what we are moving we are moving these configurable globalization tools and services into microservices, so they have a better scalability, flexibility, also can support more complex processes, but also available through to other applications, not only Dynamics 365 F&O, but other applications through integrations through Dataverse and eventually through Data Lake as well. So we are moving to the so-called concept globalization as a service. And with this, I'm going to hand back to Georg.
Also, thank you, Sergey. Also, from our side, also, we have I call it the A team of the portfolio we are representing here. So with Brendan on the Dynamics HR side, Georg for Dynamics Project Operations, and with April for Dynamics Finance, and then important, since we're also moving more and more into large enterprise customers with a global representation, also how our whole expansion on globalization and the expectations of out-of-the-box support is a huge demand out there. So with that, I hope we will be able to answer a lot of questions in this area of applications. And Sonia, I would maybe hand over to you to get the AMA session started.
Awesome. Well, we definitely have the A team here this morning, and we'll go ahead and start with Ed's question. Will F&O PMA be available independently from project operations, or will it be featured that, or will it be required that all customers use project operations functionality in the future?
Also, Georg, I think you're already live, okay? So.
Yeah. So I can take that question. Thank you, Ed. That's a good question. So the PMA capabilities in F&O are part of the project operations offerings now. So it's part of the project operations license. But we have 3 deployment modes in project operations where our customers can still utilize the PMA only capabilities, the F&O only capabilities for their project operations needs. We see that fitting the stocked materials, production-based scenarios. They can utilize CE as well as PMA capabilities for resource-based scenarios. And we also have a light deployment mode there where we see customers only deploy the CE capabilities. So you're flexible in choosing the capabilities that you wanna use for your customers. And Sonia, I can take maybe Ed's next question as well, as it's related. So I think the next question that Ed has was, is there a functional architecture available for project operations? You know, showing the different deployment modes. So we do have documentation on the project website, and I'll provide the link to it, Ed, where you can see how the PMA only offerings or PMA only capabilities would work, the integrated, the resource-based capabilities would work, as well as the light capabilities. Let me know if that answers the question.
Yes, thank you. So we have one here from Sahil about D365 Finance in the future. Will it enhance financial consolidation module to accommodate hard consolidations, including complex multi-level scenarios?
Great, and I can take that one. In the near future, you know, this is an area we definitely hear feedback on. We have customers using a mix of our Consolidate Online module and our financial reporting capabilities to get some of those aggregated reports out. We certainly hear the feedback that many organizations want more automation and complex consolidation handling. It is something we do plan to enhance. Near term, I would define that as probably the next 12 months, which is not in the plans for the next 12 months due to some of the other investments that we have going on, but it is something we are tracking and definitely longer term would like to address, especially taking advantage of some of the new performance technologies that are coming out.
Great, thank you, April. Our next question might be for Brandon here. What can we expect from HR, and what are the forthcoming major changes? Also, will there be a better improved integration into D365 F&O?
That's a great question. So regarding the integration with F&O, today HR integrates with F&O via the Dataverse and Data Integrator. This has been an area where we have invested heavily to improve the experience and performance. However, we do want to make this a better story and a better integration for our customers. Our teams are actively researching solutions to bring HR closer together with F&O over the next year or so. I don't have specific changes that I'll be able to talk about today, but it is an area we're actively working on, as we know that's a common pain that customers may face today in integrating with finance and operations. Overall, the experience, as I mentioned in the opening of the call today, the employee experience is kind of the next great thing. I mentioned that we just released the Teams app for human resources, which is very exciting, and a lot of customers, we've seen tremendous uptick on usage with that app already. So the employee experience will be a continued investment along with our moving along with the strategy around HR. Later this summer, we will be delivering payroll API integrations. As we know, as users on Dynamics 365 Human Resources, the first thing they need to do is integrate their HR data with their payroll solution. So we're bringing this in together in a streamlined API approach, and also we'll be bringing additional partners into AppSource to offer payroll solutions with direct connections in that area. So.
Great, thank you, Brandon. The next question that we have from the community is around our microservices that can be used with tier 2 machines only. Why do we get so many of those? This makes it hard and expensive to test things out quickly and easily. Can we expect a change here that makes it easier and cheaper for users and partners?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, with us taking advantage of so many of the great capabilities that Microsoft and the Power Platform team has, we are being able to utilize more of these other services to enhance our capabilities within the products. That is definitely bringing a challenge to roll things out quickly to our partners and our preview customers to test. For example, Finance Insights may be one of them where you have to have a tier 2 machine. I don't have an answer exactly, but I think, you know, as the organization continues to enhance more and add more capabilities like that, it's certainly good feedback that we will share, and hopefully someday we can see some changes around that.
Okay, great. Thank you, April. I don't know if this is kind of similar or related. We received a question in advance of the AMA today through our survey link. I'll go ahead and publish that to the community. I cannot get rid of the feeling that Microsoft is tearing the product apart into smaller parts, project operations, HR, finance, etc., and then trying to integrate the different parts via Dataverse and Power Platform. Is that feeling right? And what is the long-term outlook vision for that? In other words, what can we expect over the next couple of years in terms of separation and integration of different functionalities? Who wants to take that one?
So I can take that one if you
Georg.
switch there. That's the good thing if you have an A team, yeah? Don't have to answer all the questions. So I think the question is a very important one, because that's for sure not the intent Microsoft is trying to do. So we, you know, if you now look at the bigger picture, you know, I think Microsoft talked before about 3 clouds. We brought it together to talk about one cloud, the Microsoft cloud, because there was this kind of feeling out there that these independent pieces not working together, which of course is not the case. And I think if you look at industry solution, we announced as industry solutions again something which brings different applications together, so processes who are running across, you know, sales, finance, and service. I think there is a notion of having these end-to-end scenarios and integration points basically part of our solution. I mean, from a pricing perspective, I think we were reacting to customer demands who said, hey, I don't want to buy everything, you know, this one user can do everything. I want to somehow, you know, do this in chunks and ramp up. So, you know, let me start with finance, and I want to buy finance users. Then maybe I do as next one HR or supply chain. So there was at least a desire out there to have a kind of a ramp up, you know, a la carte. I can choose what I need. But this is a pricing thing. It doesn't mean that these are separate things which are not talking to each other. So I think from pricing perspective, yes, we try to make it more consumable. But of course, from a strategy perspective, so the tight integration, this end-to-end stack, I think is a huge differentiating proposition we have. And from an architecture point of view, I think, you know, there's some buzzwords out there which they call composable ERP. And specifically now in the pandemic, there was a desire, you have to react faster to changes. And I would say the original designs of ERP solutions, which we call, you know, this huge monolith, this black box, which is very difficult to change or to extend. What we are trying to do is, of course, to somehow have more like loosely coupled microservices, again, who talk to each other, but which gives you the flexibility to scale them separately, to use them in different contexts and to change them. So I would say from an architecture perspective, we will have more loosely coupled components, but again, this is Microsoft's way of dealing with demand. But from a customer perspective, they are absolutely integrated, and that I think also will give partners much more flexibility to stitch them together in their own processes. Also, if you want to build in your own vertical solutions on top, for example, a very specific industry, it should be much easier if you have these loosely coupled components you can use than if you have this huge monolith like competitors have, and then you have to put something on top, and it just gets very expensive and very difficult to handle. So if the feeling's out there, we have to, of course, make sure that this is not the case. Also, it's for sure not the intent. So I would say we are decomposing the backend to make it easier, basically, to have these integrated scenarios from a customer and partner perspective.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Our next question is a little lighter. We're excited to hear that Vancouver is the new home for D365 F&O Finance. How is the Vancouver team coming along? What product features are going to be their focus?
It sounds like we bought an ice hockey team, yeah? The new home of the. So, I mean, I would say it's not a new home. Yeah? I mean, it's an additional home. So what we basically did with finance. So finance is growing very aggressively, and that's good. Yeah? So we have more than 5,000 customers growing into large enterprise. So what we basically needed are two things. So we have to somehow also tap into the talent, and we also have to be represented in a global environment, since our customers are also global. So what we basically did, we expanded from US as our home into two additional homes, which is Canada and China. And the reason is just to be able to, of course, again, we have to deliver innovation, so we have to tap into the talent. You also have to understand local markets, and at the end, if you want to do a 7x24 business out of one location, it basically means somebody's not sleeping. So it's much easier to do this if you have different time zones, different locations where you can also much faster ramp up knowledge and get new talent on board. So that's a little bit the idea behind, and I would say the pandemic doesn't make life easier, but the ramp up in both locations, so China and Canada, is going well. And I mean, Vancouver is also a bigger location for Microsoft. It's not just finance, so we are just part of the bigger ever growing campus basically in Vancouver.
Great, thank you. Well, we have a question that came in from the community, and I encourage everyone on the call, if you have questions for Georg or for his team members, go ahead and submit them. We have about 30 minutes left, so take advantage of this A team you have here. The next question is, when we get specialized module solutions such as HR and project operations, can we expect the old solutions for HR and project management to stay, or will they disappear sooner or later?
No, that's a good question. Maybe I will then hand over to Georg and to Brandon to discuss this in the context of both solutions, because it's important. But I mean, in software, I think the biggest mistake you can do is to always say, I forget the past and start again new. On a completely new thing, and you do it disruptive, which normally means in 1 or 2 years you're ending up in the same complexity and the same things you were trying to solve in the first place. So you always have to do this as an evolution. So we are using the best things we have. Sometimes you have to maybe refactor them, but that's a thing you do in the backend. That's nothing now which is visible to customers. I mean, that's the reason why we brought the platforms team together. So there's synergies. We have reusable components, and then applications piece by piece can take up these new functionalities and make things, of course, hopefully better, faster, cheaper in provisioning for these applications. And I think that's also what we are mainly doing in project operations, where we are trying to bring basically the best of many worlds together, and the same on HR side, where we are trying to just make life for us easier, but then of course also hopefully easier for partners and customers. So maybe I know, Georg, if you give maybe a little bit more details how this looks like in your project operations area. So we're not throwing anything away, we're just trying to make it better.
Yeah, that's a very good summary, Georg. So what we're trying to do with project operations is we're trying to get the best capabilities out of the different assets we have in Microsoft, combining the project planning capabilities from Microsoft Project and then the finance and operation capabilities around expense and project management accounting into a single solution where all personas from the salesperson to the project manager to the resource manager can work together. So when we talk about the F&O capabilities, in that picture, expense, invoicing, revenue recognition, project accounting, these will be F&O capabilities. We will be investing in these going forward. Where we have the duplication is the front-end capabilities, like we have a different project planning capability on the F&O side versus the project planning capability from Microsoft Project. So none of the F&O capabilities are disappearing in the short term. From a long-term perspective, what we are assessing is, whether we can bring these capabilities together and provide rich capabilities to all of our customers in the long run when it comes to sales capabilities, project planning, and resource management capabilities. But none of the F&O capabilities are going away in the short term, given that we don't have feature parity with the corresponding CE capabilities. Hopefully that answers it. Brandon, do you want to take the HR one?
Yeah, I certainly can do that. Yeah, in the HR, as you know, we do have an HR module over in finance and operations, and then we have Dynamics 365 Human Resources. We have hundreds and hundreds of customers on each of the different platforms, and we want to make sure that we continue to support those customers. In the short to midterm, we have no plans of removing any of that capability that exists in finance and operations, but we are continuing to evaluate what the best way to support customers on both solutions, bring better integrations, as I talked about earlier, between the solutions, and to the point that Georg was talking about it. It is an evolution, and we'll continue to move forward based on customer feedback on how we continue to evolve. It's very important that your HR processes stay close to the rest of your business operations, and we want to make sure that where we're focusing our investments are on bringing that HR data back into F&O in an integrated way that allows you to perform those operational activities that rely on that HR data. So right now, similar to Gherkin, no short to midterm plans to remove that capability on the finance and operations side.
Great, thank you, Brandon. One of the questions that we've had is really for probably all of you is, can you tell us a little bit more about what to expect in the coming Wave 1? Can you give us a preview?
Maybe Brandon, since the live focus is on you, if you start.
Yeah, 2021 Wave 1, as we published the release plans here just back in January, we have a lot of capability coming around what I talked about earlier with the integration with payroll, bringing the APIs in place. We also have a number of continuation of our benefits management. So we have several capabilities coming on the benefits management side, such as a benefit management workspace, which actually just went into preview here in the last week. We have capabilities on the benefits side that'll bring greater visibility to the benefits that employees have been enrolled in, as well as enabling it so that custom fields work in the eligibility of benefits management. So that's been a highly asked for feature since we released the new benefits management module last year. As I mentioned, the payroll integration capability, what that will allow to do is through direct APIs using the Dataverse Web API, we have payroll partners that are actively building payroll connectors to their solutions. Those partners will be available through AppSource with an out-of-the-box connection directly to human resources. So we're excited for those partnerships to be announced at some point in the future and who those will be. But that's the kind of the strategy that we are going with. It's a continuation of the strategy. We released the web APIs for recruiting solution providers in November as part of the Wave 2, 2020 Wave 2 launch. And we'll continue into the future at bringing learning management beyond Wave 1. So excited for the capabilities that are coming in the payroll integrations, benefits management, and a few other areas too.
So I touch a little bit about what our strategic direction for globalization. Basically, we are, as I mentioned, focusing on two areas. One is extending globally from one perspective, but also enhancing localization. This is what we are doing for 2021 Wave 1 release, and I mentioned already that we are extending to one more localization, which is Egypt, and so we will be covering with this release, which is coming later in the spring. We will be covering 43 countries out of the box and 48 languages out of the box. We also improving existing localizations in areas like invoicing, withholding tax, and extending, adding some functionality for certain countries. And we are very closely looking what is happening also on idea portal and looking at the voting there. Another area which is also a big focus for us, it's this configurable globalization tools and services. And in this area, it's actually one of the big component which is coming in spring as well. It's electronic invoicing add-on or electronic invoicing service. It's like a functionality as a microservice, and where we extending the scalability, flexibility, and actually type of scenario coverage, which we can do in this electronic invoicing area. And obviously, electronic invoicing area has two flavors. One is business to government, and you probably know that governments around the world, they are trying to fight with this tax evasion, tax fraud, and they are introducing more and more real-time tax reporting, and electronic invoicing is one of the key instruments for this. And we see this coming in countries. We have Italy introduced a year ago, we have India introduced last year, and Egypt introduced this electronic invoicing business to government actually from the beginning of this year. So we are addressing obviously this with enhancing this functionality and making it as a service. The second area, and this is what is functionality which is coming in Wave 1 as well, is tax service. And it's coming in preview. It's still not GA, right? It's coming in a couple of months, and as a preview where we basically enhancing our tax functionality and making it more flexible in terms of tax determination and tax calculation as well, and which allows us and our customers to address more complex tax optimization scenarios with this service. Back to April or Georg.
Yep, thanks, Sergey. So for finance, we're still very much in the key part of year-end close for many of our customers. So we have a large focus on supporting our customers right now for that. Coming up in the Wave 1, we plan to bring our finance insights capabilities to public preview. So that's something we're still very much investing in. And then we're also enhancing, over the last 2 years, we've released some regulatory requirements. We released asset leasing, and so we have some capabilities around lease termination, adjustments in that area coming out to continue to support our customers that are taking advantage of those capabilities. We're also delivering 2 of our top requests around revenue recognition. We've added the ability to do the reallocation with the project and also multiple reallocations, which has probably been one of our top feature requests in the revenue recognition module. So just continuing to listen to your feedback. So thank you for sharing it, and we plan to deliver those coming up here in our Wave 1.
Thank you, April. I can go next. So for project operations in our April Wave 1 or the April Wave investments, what you will see is the support for non-stock materials end-to-end. So we're adding the capabilities for you to define non-stock materials in our CE capabilities and have that flow end-to-end with the project contract and then the invoicing working all together. So our procurement processes starting to light up from both CE as well as F&O capabilities. Another area that we're investing is the task-based billing capability that will be integrated in our April Wave as well. One of the feedbacks that we have heard from our customers and community loudly was the constraints around the task API in our work as we brought Microsoft Project for the web capabilities together with project operations. The task API was close to create, update, and delete, programmatic create, update, and delete calls. And obviously that constrained our customers when they were customizing project operations. So we're opening that up. So that will GA on April 1st. Other areas of investment include the PSA upgrade. We're looking to have a preview of our PSA upgrade tooling so that our customers that are currently in production on PSA can easily upgrade to project operations. So this will be available in a preview in August-September timeframe. And then the most important investment is the provisioning and ALM work that we're doing. As you all know, project operations is the first product from Dynamics that runs on both CE and as well as F&O capabilities. So we're improving our trial experience and provisioning experience for the April wave.
All right, great. And Georg, you have something to add to that?
I just wanted to, set a little bit of meta frame on all the great innovations coming. As I think there's also two themes we are working on in the whole Dynamics portfolio, which I think are very important. So the one is, as I mentioned at the beginning, how can we bring our portfolio closer together with all the collaboration tools and productivity tools Microsoft has. So how can we bring, for example, HR functionality to all our Teams users? How can we use Teams in these collaboration aspects of finance departments, trying to reconcile whatever they have to reconcile with business departments or do the budget planning. But I think there's a lot of collaboration scenarios where the tools Microsoft has are basically outstanding and market leading, and bringing this together, making it a tighter integration, and basically bringing the processes where the user is. I think is a big theme we see not now only in our portfolio but also in the other portfolio of Dynamics. And then the other one, I think Georg briefly talked about it. We also want to make it much easier to, try things out, to onboard, to, pay as you go. So make it easier, to try our solution portfolio out and don't have to go through these huge hurdles of getting a system up and running and all these negotiations. So there's a lot of stuff also going on to make this a much easier consumable experience for customers and partners. Just wanted to put these two things on top. And with this, Sonia, back to you. I think there's a couple of new questions coming.
Yes, great. So one of the questions is, there a plan for better complete information against some of our competitors, such as Oracle NetSuite?
Maybe just a quick comment. I think, Georg, you wanted to take it into. I don't know the official Microsoft policy, but we can figure it out. But normally, as an ISV vendor, you're not pitching about competitors. So we would never, I think, Microsoft saying, hey, all this stuff from Oracle is much worse than we do, because that's normally a rabbit hole you cannot escape. So normally what we do is we provide information from third party like analysts, surveys. We can then reuse and share as additional material, but a Microsoft own interpretation of strengths and weaknesses is normally not what ISVs are doing. But of course, there's a lot of material out there, again, which is a summary maybe of analyst reports or other studies or surveys, which of course supporting a lot of ways how we could go against other vendors. But I think, Georg, you have something more specific on the NetSuite side.
Yeah. I think that's spot on, Georg. So the type of information that you will see coming out of Microsoft will be about the capabilities in project operations. We're releasing an ebook, so closely follow our website, project operations website. You will see an ebook, new videos, and additional documentation coming out there. And we're also publishing a lot of documentation on our docs page, so that you can see the strengths of project operations, how we differentiate ourselves, and the unique value we're bringing as Microsoft.
So one of the questions I answered in chat is just around the recording. We are publishing these videos, and they'll be published in the Dynamics 365 community as well, so you can refer back to them. And then one of our next questions for you guys is around sustainability. Is that one that you want to answer, Georg, or
Yeah,
Gherkin?
I can do so. Was it? I'm just trying to find the question.
I'll ask it for you. How will
Okay.
you support companies in becoming more sustainable in or with D365, less CO2 emissions, UN development, goal compliance, fair trade, etc.?
As it's a very important topic, and I think we did a lot basically before COVID, hit the world, and there was a huge momentum on sustainability. I think the whole thing was a little bit paused now because suddenly other problems maybe are more prominent. But maybe you saw Bill Gates launched his new book on how to save the planet. But I think now it's time again to go back to the self-created problems we have to solve. And as we have launched a solution from Microsoft in our portfolio where we're trying to address the needs basically in certain steps. As I don't want to go now into details of how to calculate things, but the first thing basically we are offering right now in public preview is what we call a sustainability calculator. So we can help customers to understand what's the footprint created by our solution portfolio. So that's a first step. And I mean, you can think about like scenarios of if you run your IT department on premise, how much would you save basically if you would move this into a certain location and run everything on Azure. Yeah? It's a little bit like, at least in Europe, there's certain energy providers who offering you different, of course, price points. You can have, green electricity or electricity done by coal or other things. Also, there's certain things you can influence, and we give you then all these insights. And then the next phase we want to deliver there is basically where we help you to connect your supply chain. So you also understand what is the footprint of all the other ingredients you're basically using in producing the products or maybe the services you're delivering, so that you get basically an end-to-end view of your carbon footprint. And then the last stage, which of course is the one which is desirable, is what we call, this basically it's kind of a closed loop. You're trying to understand really from what's the footprint of producing something, using something, but then also you have to somehow recycle it. So this whole circular process you want to monitor, and of course the desire is basically that this becomes almost like a zero net game, or at least some companies even going more aggressive because they want to catch up what they have produced already in the last 20 years, as you always try to do something how you can save it. So that's also absolutely important. I think Microsoft is doing a lot on this whole sustainability from a broader perspective, but in our Dynamics portfolio, so we launched basically our first solution public preview, should go GA, I think, pretty soon, and there's then basically more to come.
Wonderful, thank you. It's great news to hear. Our next question is around project operations and PSA. So I think I'll tee up Gherkin for this one. And the question is, we are implementing F&O and PMA. Would PSA impact our current set of PMA? And we have to do PMA again based on PSA. That's a lot of acronyms.
You did well, Sonia. Good question. So obviously with the release of project operations, we have no disruption, guys, to our customers that are either in production with PMA or implementing PMA. So you can go forward as you have been implementing and complete your PMA implementation. The resource-based scenario is where we're bringing the CE and the F&O capabilities together. So if you feel that is a good scenario that you want to upgrade to in the future, you can certainly consider that, and we can work with you to upgrade your implementation to that scenario where we're utilizing both CE and F&O capabilities. But for your implementation, there will be no disruption. Again, there's no deprecation or the change to any of the F&O capabilities, so you can safely continue with your implementation and hopefully go live on time.
Great. We have a question that we received in advance, and it's really around how you guys might advise someone who is either transferring from the NAV world or the AX world, or just new to the Dynamics environment, to learn more about the products and how to use them. What are the best resources?
Great, and maybe even Fawad can chime in. We there is an abundance of resources available out on the Learn and the community site. So as you partake in that journey, I would absolutely encourage you to look at the different tech talks, the training modules. We actually have a commitment to refresh those training modules every wave. So everything that we just released in the last wave, we'll be keeping those updated, and the product management group is very involved in that. So I think the content is starting to get a lot deeper. So definitely check out the capabilities on Learn, and then the communities. I can speak specifically to finance. We have one of the largest communities out there. We have everything from technical questions to functional questions. There's the tech talks and webinars, and maybe Fawad can give a bit of an update later even more. But I would definitely start with those two things and really immerse yourself. And I think that'd be a great way to get started on that journey.
Great. Does anyone else have anything to add around there?
I probably can add on globalization stuff, right? Obviously, for globalization, there is also a lot of information. We have country coverage you can learn from docs.microsoft.com, but also I think what probably unique for globalization, we have a lot of legislation changes, right, which are coming all the time, right? And what we do, and what is important also a piece to know for the people that we have lifecycle services and we have issue search, and you can actually discover everything what is have been published already from these regulatory updates for our system, but also we publish information about what is coming in the future, right? If as soon as we are aware of that regulatory update for a certain country, we can publish it. In addition to this, we also have a alerting service and also an LCS, where you can join this alerting service, and you can actually see what alerts are submitted by our community, right? And you can submit your own alerts if you believe something is not, there is no information about something in certain countries, and you believe it's something which is like regulatory change which is coming. So we have basically extra information, which probably unique for globalization because we have so many changes, right, through the year.
I'd also like to just build on this. There was another pre-submitted question around somebody asking that they wanted to learn more about HR, learn how to use the capability. We did just release our first getting started with Dynamics 365 Human Resource Learn module earlier this month, and we're going to be continuing over the course of the next quarter to roll out additional modules to our learn capabilities and learn solutions out there. And then similar to what April said, the communities is a great place to learn as well. The tech talks are great. We have a number of new tech talks in the HR space set to roll out over the next several months as well. So that hopefully answers the other pre-submitted question there, specifically to HR.
We also had a question around supply chain management, and just answered that we will have upcoming AMAs with all of our product teams. Hopefully, we've got some in the books, and so pay attention to Dynamics community events. You can subscribe to our events page and be alerted when we have upcoming AMAs. Well, we are almost out of time anyway, and if we can ask the community to share their feedback, I will post a link to our survey. And I believe that you have a slide there as well that we can share on the screen for users to share your feedback about this event. And thank you all so much for attending. And thank you to our presenters for making themselves available and open to your questions.
Thanks for being involved and active. And of course, also thank you from my side to the Microsoft A team, and I guess for the closing one, I will then hand over to Fawad. And thanks a lot. Was great.
Wonderful. What an amazing session. Thank you, everyone. Just real quick, emphasizing you filling the survey for us because we want to improve and bring you all the key people from our product teams so you can ask questions. This video will be available on Dynamics community, community.dynamics.com. That's the URL to go. And the questions we couldn't answer, there were a lot of questions we got online too. We will post the answers for those questions along with the video when it's available. So please come back and look at the video if you missed it, and also you will see the questions over there. My great thanks to all the presenters. So Georg, April, Sergey, Brendan, and Gurkan, thank you so much for taking the time. I know everyone is busy and in so many meetings and other engagements. Thank you for coming and talking to the community. I know it's really appreciated because we couldn't even get through all the questions. And special thanks to Sonia, the players who do the things behind the scenes, Sonia and Daniel, for making it a successful AMA. So thank you very much. And of course, this cannot be done without you all the people in the community. Thank you for continuing to share and learn together as a community. We are planning to bring other AMAs. So as it was mentioned in March, we are going to have supply chain management team. So if you are in the ERP world, definitely March would be an important month for you. Supply chain management team is coming and talking to you. We have commerce team coming and talking to you in March too. And then on the CRM side, we also have a customer voice team that is going to come and talk to you. So really exciting times and exciting products coming from Microsoft. And it's a great way to you to come and ask questions from the key leaders and the product owners and make sure you get all you need to be successful in your roles. With that, I'm going to wrap it up and thank you everyone for your time, and we'll see you next time.